Oh, hi. Good to see you. So you just caught me. You're joining me for another example of an OT's, an occupational therapist's life hack. As you know, we're celebrating the Royal College of Occupational Therapists National Occupational Therapy Week this week, and we're providing a series of life hacks that might help you just adjust to your life and the changes you have. In case you're wondering about that bucket, let me explain more. That is my stress bucket, and I'll tell you more about how that works as we progress through today. So you'll remember that in the first session we spoke about the importance of the Mars bar approach to life, the fact that there's a balance between activity and rest, in fact, work, sleep and play. And then we started to explore how we can use calendars, diaries in my day, to prioritise our to-do lists and rearrange things from there. Today I want to talk about something which we don't always feel we can control, and that is managing the amount of stress that comes into our lives. Now, first thing I want to share with you is stress in itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you look at the way that we've evolved as humankind, we wouldn't have made the progress we have unless we had stressors pressing down on us. Go back to Stone Age humankind, we'd be sitting in our rock cave freezing in the winter, and it was only when we discovered we could actually create fire that generated heat and light that we moved on from there. And of course, fire itself is now being involved in lots of other things since. It's all sorts of forms of energy. But that's a topic for a separate day. Let's leave that one out of the way. Similarly, we still have these stresses now. The most recent one I would suggest is probably when we had a worldwide pandemic, which was COVID, and there was the stressor to get a vaccination out and try and address that, which has led, of course, to the COVID vaccine. I'm not even going down the route of a debate about whether it's right or wrong. I'm just using this as an example. So stress in itself isn't a bad thing. It's the effect it has on us. And long-term stress, particularly when we feel we are out of control, that events are controlling us, is unhealthy. It creates various chemicals that are not good for us long-term, chemicals in our brain. It can cause to us taking on coping strategies that aren't always healthy. We get a lot of muscular tension. There's a phrase, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, because your muscles do tense up. It feels that way. And the fact that you wake up and you've got that constant knot in your stomach with the anxiety. Now, this is one way of looking at it and dealing with it. You may already know it. It's the reference to the stress bucket. Clearly, it isn't a real stress bucket. I was, you probably gathered, trying to use my bucket for illustrative purposes. But we do carry a bucket full of stress with us. We can't help it. Some of those stresses may be that we know we've only got a certain amount of money lasting us until the next lot of money comes in, so we have to budget appropriately. It may be that our stresses are that we've got to get certain things done by a certain date or a certain time. It may be that when we're out and about, we get stressors added to it that we really didn't expect to happen. You may relate to this. It always seems to be that when I'm running late in the mornings, that's when every traffic light is at red. You come across that? And that adds to the stress that is getting chucked into your bucket. And well, many other things besides. So the idea is that we all can cope with a stress bucket, provided it doesn't get over full. Once it gets over full, the stress bucket tips, and then there's all sorts of chaos ensues afterwards. So, our strategy today, our life hack, is about looking at the stress bucket and how to control it as much as we can. And the first thing is to recognise that we are under stress in all sorts of ways. Now, part of that is then going to lead to how we manage it for ourselves, but also how we help respond to others whose stress bucket may be full. Perhaps there's a colleague at work and you turn up, you make the most innocent of comments, good morning, and then throw out a light-hearted comment about, hey, I can see the fashion police have been round at your house today. And your colleague normally will know that that's a light-hearted comment because you dress in different styles, but today they fly off the handle, as it said. They get angry, F off you, F off this ain't effing fair. And you think, whoa, Just having a joke, mate. Chill out. Now, the point is that may be a joke, but on that particular day, the stresses have mounted up. They may be feeling self-conscious about what they're wearing, and what we've done is tip that bucket over. The same for us. You might have a whole day of dealing with school or college, or maybe you'll have a whole day of being at work and having to be professional to people, even those people which you think, don't really like them, I'd never mix with them socially, but I've got to look professional and polite. And at the end of it, you come home and someone you live with will make an innocent comment. Hey, I see you're heading to the kitchen. Can you get me a cup or two? A cup of tea as well. And without any reason or explanation, it seems you just explode. No, I can't. You get off your fucking ass and get yourself something, yeah? And that's not because someone's being nasty. It's because the stresses have piled up. We've tried to keep the lid on it and keep it in, and now it's all exploded and tipped out. So the first thing to do is recognise it, and then where we can, try and take those stresses out. And there's different ways of dealing with that. It may be we can deal directly with that issue that's stressing us. Fantastic. It may be we need to look at someone else helping us. It may even be we just need to say to people, whoa, hold on a minute. I need a bit of space here. Now, that's not easy, particularly in work and school situations. People come up and say, but this will only take you 10 minutes. And you say, yeah, it may well only take me 10 minutes, but hang on a minute, mate. I've got another 15 jobs that need to take 10 minutes. I've only got 30 minutes left. Where do you want me to start? Or it may well be that we need to recognise that some of the stressors might be sensory. When we have a wonderful expression which I really dislike. It's one which says somebody has high-functioning autism. Now, high-functioning autism is all well and good. It implies that someone intellectually can manage some very complex tasks. That's what we mean by high-functioning. But the whole meaning of autism is that we know there's extra sensory needs. The sensory profiles, we call it, can be very high. Anxiety can be there already. The difficulty of interpreting social signs and social contact is difficult. And indeed, if you throw into that other element, such as pathological demand avoidance, when, to put it very simply, that's when there's so many things going on, so many things to deal with, you don't know where to start, then that pushes that stress bucket up really, really high. So we need to recognise that if we're working with someone and they respond that way, they get angry, take a step back, try and depersonalise it, recognise it's someone's reaction to an event, not you, the individual. Keep your voice calm. Give someone a bit of space. Give them an escape route, either physical escape routes, then go to a space that's quieter for them, but get some time out and just reset, re-regulate, or psychological space where you say, look, okay, I'm not going to keep asking you questions. The worst thing to do is keep asking someone questions. What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? Is only going to make things worse. So, the life hack today, be aware of the stress bucket. Be aware of the impact it can have on you. And it's important to recognise that when the stress bucket's getting full, we need to take some action where we can to stop piling this up any further, deal with the stresses there already. But the other side of the coin is to recognise that people will have their own stress buckets. And when people react in a way which might appear aggressive, might appear angry, might even be bursting into tears, might even be withdrawing and not speaking or communicating at all, sometimes you just need to allow people space. Just think if there's anything stressing them that we might be able to take control of and help regulate it down. So, my stress bucket, dealt with. Yeah, I've got it dealt with here. We're okay. Your stress bucket, have a look. See how you can manage it. I'll be around at Disability Expo, which on in July over at the Excel Centre in London. I'm hoping you'll come along and say hello, and we'll be discussing various other things there, particularly some of the things that affect both the autistic individual, but also their family when it comes to living with an autistic individual. Look forward to seeing you. Take care and see you next time.